that is faced on a day-to-day basis for some married adults is whether or not divorce is good or bad for the kids. In my opinion, divorce can be both good and bad, but I am shifted towards the good side. The first reason I agree with the positive aspect of divorce is because it can sometimes take kids away from an abusive home life or any other tough living situations. Another reason why I agree divorce is good is because eventually the kids will no longer have to be unhappy as a result of their parents fighting. Thirdly, I would agree divorce is good is because it can teach the children how not to get out of marriage in the future. First off, one of the positive aspects of divorce is the possibility that it could remove a child from an abusive home life caused by an alcohol addiction or marital problems. No one, kid nor parent, deserves to be abused under any circumstances. Physical abuse is not the only type of abuse. Verbal abuse is a type of abuse that can destroy a marriage. Sexual abuse is another, sometimes leading to someone's death and ruining a life forever, as well as destroying marriages. My parents are not divorced, but I have many friends whose are. A really good friend of mine told me a story once about his dad physically abusing him. His dad was a very hardcore alcoholic with a very bad temper, especially once he began drinking. My buddy was out with me one night just having some fun, and he had to be home before 10. We accidentally stayed out a few minutes late, and his dad was waiting out on the porch for him when we arrived. I dropped him off and left, not knowing that his dad was angry enough to abuse him. He told me that his dad grabbed him by the arm and yanked him inside and then punched him straight in the jaw. Of course, his dad was drunk when he did this, and after a few months, his parents got divorced and he moved out with his mother. He now has very little affiliation with his dad, and he is noticeably happier. This story is why I firmly believe divorce can be a great way to get kids away from abuse. Secondly, the next positive aspect of divorce is the possible happiness it could give to the kids to no longer have to witness their parents fighting all the time. It is not healthy for a kid to have to see his parents fight constantly. Either verbal or physical fighting it still can give a lot of unhappiness to a child. Parents most often fight over money, and that is just unfair that a marriage can go wrong for that reason. I am a victim of this, and even though my parents are still married, all of my life I have seen my parents fight. Sometimes it wasn't over money, and sometimes it was, but either way, it hurt me to see them upset with each other. I remember a time when my dad didn't receive a paycheck for 5 months, and because he was laid off. It was honestly one of the roughest times of my life. We had spent all our savings just to get by, and it came close to us having no money at all. Every day I would hear my parents fight at night as I was trying to go to bed. I can remember how angry they were with each other, just over something as simple as money. My mom was constantly on my dad's case, and that ended up resulting in him leaving for about a week. At this point, I just really wanted them to get a divorce because it was killing me slowly inside. Still to this day, my parents fight over money, and it has just become something I'm numb to. It still sucks, but I have moved out, and so I don't have, I so and so I do not have to deal with it as much anymore. But still, I wish they had gotten divorced because it would have brought a great deal of happiness to us all. Happiness is way more important than money. This is why I am for divorce because it can bring happiness for the kids and the family. Last off, a reason why I agree with divorce is because it can open new doors and teach the children what not to do when they get married in the future. Marriage should be something that everyone goes through in life, and it should be with someone you truly love and never have to second guess if things would fail in the future. I have always thought about how awesome it would be to spend every moment of your life with someone you truly love. Once again, my parents are not divorced, but they have fought a lot in my lifetime. I have learned how not to treat a woman just by my dad's mistakes and taking them into aspect and realizing how upset it would make my mom. He hasn't been abusive to my mom or anything, he just hasn't really been a good husband. He has missed out on so much because he chose to spend his time with his friends rather than a family. A woman should be taken care of on a day to day basis and never feel unwanted. I just remember one time when my dad really crushed my mom's feelings. My mom is not hard to please. She enjoys the simple little reminder that she is loved. Her birthday had come around, and my dad was at work. He didn't tell her happy birthday in the morning before he left, and so that had already upset her. The day went on, and he finally got home from work. We didn't have a party or anything for her because we thought he would take her out for dinner. Well, he didn't, and in fact, he didn't even tell her happy birthday until I had to mention it to him and he had just straight up forgot. Just a card or a kiss would have been enough for my mom, but he decided to not do that. That just really taught me how important it is to treat a woman right and do the right things for her. Even though my parents are not divorced, I still have realized what it will take to make a marriage last and keep a smile on my wife's face forever. For those kids whose parents are divorced, I'm sure they have realized the same thing I have. Personally, divorce can be a great thing for the adults and the kids. One reason why I say this is because sometimes there is abuse in some households, and that is not healthy. If there is abuse present, then something needs to be done, and that's when divorce can change a lot of things. The next reason I agree with divorce is because it can help the kids be more happy by no longer having to see their parents fighting over money or other reasons. It can really ruin a child's life to constantly witness their parents fighting over money or anything else. Last off, divorce can be good because it can help a kid understand how to properly carry out a marriage in the future. Many people will say divorce always hurts family, but sometimes letting things happen over and over is way worse. I'm not a victim of divorce, but I have one of my parents to get a divorce in the past just to bring peace and joy to us all. All of this is why I stand my ground when I say divorce can be great.